What's going on, YouTube? Champ is back. We have ourselves one of three death row executions today. And I got myself pre-workout formula with some ASMR action. And bonus, by the way, for those of you watching me on Facebook, hi, how you doing? For those of you wondering what I do when I'm not on Facebook, you're going to find out one of many things. Death row executions. This is what I do. I like to do it on YouTube, and hey, might as well just do the same video and post it on both YouTube and Facebook. Kind of promote my page a little bit. See what you guys think of it. So, spoiler alerts for this specific one. Let me just go ahead and do this. Spoiler alerts for this one here. This one does not involve children, anything like that, but it does involve domestic violence. So, if that's a trigger for you, feel free to click off, and if that's a trigger for you if you're watching me on Facebook, because I'm only posting this video, the rest of them are going to be on YouTube. I'm going to have to post the link below, and you're going to have to subscribe to me, but this is your freebie. This is your free sample. Everything else, the main course is all up on there. Go up there, okay? As usual today, this is brought to you by Final Verdict. The link will be in the description, and YouTube will be in the comments on Facebook. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Here we go. Let's get it popping. Oklahoma, by the way. This is where it takes place. My home away from home, even though I've never been there before. Let's go.
On August 13th, 2026, Carlos Cuesta-Rodriquez was executed in Oklahoma for the brutal murder of Olympia Fisher. 13 days before the killing, Olympia walked into the Oklahoma City Police Department with bruises on her arms and her stomach. She told officers Carlos had beaten her and strangled her with a belt. They were ready to help her. But Olympia panicked and left the station before anyone could photograph her injuries. She said she didn't want him arrested. 13 days later, Olympia was dead inside the home they shared while police stood just feet away, unable to get to her. This is what happened.
Now that's where I left off, okay? That's the intro. So anything beyond this, I don't know. So if you guys are offended, hey, just don't watch my stuff anymore. I don't know what to tell you. Jeez. I can only imagine what somebody like this goes through. Like, she's probably thinking, like, she's doing the right thing, obviously, but also in the back of her mind, she's like, yeah, I'm dying today because this guy is gonna hate me for this. Oh my God, I don't know what I would do. I have problems with anxiety sometimes, and this would just spike my anxiety to the point where I probably couldn't even think. But let's just go ahead. Let's see what they do. We'll react to it.
Olympia and her adult daughter, Katia, lived together with Carlos in a home.
Say that again.
Olympia and her adult daughter, Katia, lived together with
Katia. Okay.
Carlos in a home in southwest Oklahoma City. Carlos and Olympia had bought the house jointly, and for a while, things worked.
Wow. Look at him. Winner, winner, chicken dinner over here. Oh my God, he looks like me after I just get done rust proofing.
But over the months that followed, the relationship between them fell apart. Olympia was pulling long hours as a packer for a moving company, while Carlos became convinced she was seeing someone else.
Go figure. Controlling people, man, all alike, every single one of them.
Every time Olympia or Katia left the house, he interrogated them. Where were they going? Who would they see? When would they be back? It got so bad that both of them wanted the other one gone, and the tension just kept building. Olympia had tried to get out. She had walked into that police station, shown her bruises, told them about the belt. And then she left. She was afraid of what would happen if Carlos got arrested, afraid of what he would do when he got out.
Yeah, she was afraid that he was like gonna get bail, or just even find out in general. Oh God, imagine living in fear like this. Stay single, please stay single. Don't look. I don't care if you're a man. I don't care if you're a woman. I don't care. Stay single, please.
So she went back to the house.
Don't go back
to him.
No.
That decision gave her 13 more days.
Wow.
On the evening of May 31st, 2003, Carlos called Olympia's...
Oh, so this is in 03. I graduated in '03. This was right after I graduated.
Cell phone. She told him she was at work. But Carlos had driven past her job earlier that day. He knew she wasn't there, convinced she was lying, convinced she was with someone else. He went home. He opened a bottle of tequila, and he drank the whole thing. Around 10 that night, Katya came home to a dark house. She was 18 years old and 5 months pregnant. She found the empty tequila bottle on the counter, and next to it, a handwritten note. It read, "Bitches and puntas, goodbye."
What's a puntas? It's probably Spanish for something. I don't know. Okay, great. I'm like, if I was in this person's situation and I saw this note, I'd be like, all right, well, I'm changing the locks. Like, I don't care if it's 2 in the morning. I don't care. Get a locksmith over here and change the locks.
Katya tried calling her mother but couldn't reach her. So she left the house, picked Olympia up from work, and the two of them got a late dinner at McDonald's.
Okay.
When they got back, Carlos was still inside, passed out. They had planned to pack their things and leave that night. But rather than wake him, they decided to stay until morning. Katya slept in her own room, while Olympia slept in a spare bedroom down the hall. Around 4:30 in the morning, Katya woke to the sound of shouting. Her mother and Carlos were arguing.
At 4:30 in the morning?
Katya woke to the sound of shouting. Her mother and Carlos were arguing. Katya got up, walked to the room where they were fighting, and convinced Olympia to come back with her. She thought if they could just close the door and wait it out, he would leave them alone.
No.
But he didn't.
Is this guy hammered too? Because that would just make the whole situation worse. This is 4:30 in the morning. He's got to be hammered. Right?
Carlos followed them into Katya's bedroom, still shouting, still accusing Olympia of cheating on him. Olympia reached for a phone, but Carlos ripped it out of her hands and threw it across the room. And then he pulled out a double-barreled .45 caliber pistol loaded with 4 10 shotgun shells and fired into Olympia's right eye. Not a regular bullet, a shotgun shell, at point-blank range, through her eye.
With a pistol? Did I...
And then he pulled out a double-barreled .45 caliber pistol loaded with 4 10 shotgun shells and fired into Olympia's right eye. Not a...
Would that work? I thought like in order to fire a gun you had to use the specific ammo for it, like the specific size. Or is that not just all guns? I'm not a gun owner. I don't know. I probably fired a gun like 3 times my entire life.
Regular bullet.
Maybe it does.
A shotgun shell, at point-blank range, through her eye. Katya
Okay, and that worked. Okay.
reached under her bed, grabbed a baseball bat, and swung at Carlos.
Well, don't
He
do
caught
that.
the bat mid-swing, ripped it from her hands, and threw it to the floor. Then he pointed the gun at Katya, 18 years old, 5 months pregnant, standing feet away from her mother, who had just been shot in the face. Katya ran. She made it out of the house, reached a neighbor's door, and called 911. And somehow, Olympia was still alive.
Good stuff.
Carlos dragged her into his bedroom. And despite having her right eye destroyed, Olympia fought. She screamed. She struggled against him. She banged on the bedroom window, trying to break through the glass, trying to get someone to hear her.
She's gonna die, isn't she?
The police arrived within 2 minutes. Officers could hear Olympia screaming from outside. They could hear her fists pounding on the window. But every door and every window in that house was covered with metal burglar bars. The same bars that had been installed to keep intruders out were now keeping her trapped inside and keeping police from getting to her. Officers tried kicking in the front door, but it didn't move. And while they were still trying to force their way in, they heard a second shot. And Olympia's screaming stopped. With Olympia dead and Carlos still armed, police called in a tactical team. A hostage negotiator tried to talk him out, but Carlos stayed barricaded inside that house
He's all
for 3
pissed
hours.
off and everything. He's not gonna move. He's all pissed off. Like, what is the point of this? Like, I never understood people that do this on both ends, the victim and the person who abuses. And here's what I mean by that. Imagine living life on both sides. Like, imagine being in fear of your significant other, but also imagine being the person who is so controlling. You're using so much energy and time and money and all of this stuff, your mental health, everything to track what this, all for what?
Eventually, the team forced their way through the front door using a specialized hydraulic tool. And Carlos didn't
Okay.
fight. He didn't run. He was arrested and taken to the station, where he gave
Well,
fight. He didn't run. He was arrested and
if this many cop cars showed up, are you going to run? Seriously, even if you were expecting the cops to show up and you're like, oh, like once the cops show up, I'm gonna bolt out of this place and I'm just gonna. If this many cops show up, are you really gonna stick with that? Probably not. That'd be awesome if this was the actual crime scene photo, though. I don't think it is.
taken to the
Good.
station, where he gave statements over the next 2 days. In both interviews, he admitted to shooting Olympia,
Okay.
but he said the first shot was an accident.
Of course
He
it
told
was.
detectives the gun went off while Olympia tried to grab it. And when pressed
Then, if that's the case, then what's your excuse for the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, or whatever, how many shots you did after that? What's your excuse then?
about the alcohol, he said something that would come back to haunt his own defense.
Okay, so he was drinking.
He told police he hadn't acted because he was drunk. He said he acted out of anger because he believed she was seeing other men. Those were
Yeah, we got the point there. Yeah, we got that point. Yeah, we know that part.
his own words. But this wasn't the first time Carlos had been in trouble. Carlos
figure.
Cuesta-Rodriquez came.
Yoinks, you don't say.
This wasn't the first time Carlos had been in trouble.
You don't say.
Carlos Cuesta-Rodriquez came to the United States from Cuba in 1980 during the Mariel boat lift. After arriving, he was convicted in California for possession of heroin for sale and spent a year in federal prison. He eventually settled in Oklahoma City, worked construction for a company called Forest Lumber for 10 years, and by most accounts was a hard worker.
There you go.
But Olympia was not the first woman who had tried to get away from Carlos. His third ex-wife had filed for a protection
Third
order
ex-wife.
against him after he turned up drinking, angry, and violent.
Yeah, so he was hammered that way. Okay.
Prosecutors described a pattern that stretched back years: controlling behavior, jealous outbursts, abuse, one relationship to the next. Carlos went to trial in Oklahoma County in 2007, and the prosecution built their case around one argument. This was a calculated act of domestic violence by a man who could not accept that a woman was leaving him.
Yeah.
And the evidence backed it up.
Yeah.
The medical examiner walked the jury through Olympia's injuries. 2 shotgun wounds to the face, the first through her right eye, the second through her left.
Oh, but I love her.
Her eye sockets had been shattered, her skull fractured, blood had filled her airway. And the examiner testified that Olympia most likely died from choking on her own blood, and that the process could have taken as long as 8 minutes. He identified the second shot as the more likely cause of death. But it was the firearms examiner who sealed it. An expert from the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation told the jury that the pistol Carlos used was unusual. It required several sequential steps to be fired a second time. So that second shot wasn't a reflex.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're using shotgun shells too in a pistol. How does that work?
Fired a second time.
It's got to be a custom made. It's got to be a custom made like pistol or
So
something.
that second shot wasn't a reflex. It wasn't an accident.
Yeah.
It was a choice. Prosecutors told the jury that Olympia could have survived the first shot, but Carlos refused to surrender. He refused to open the door. He refused to let anyone help her. and then he fired again. And there was one detail that nobody in the courtroom forgot. Olympia's ex-boyfriend took the stand.
Ooh, okay.
He testified that when Olympia left him for Carlos, she told him she had put her eyes on somebody else. Those were her exact words. And Carlos shot her through both of them.
I mean, that's only coincidence, but it's still kind of like eerie.
The defense told the jury about the metal plate in Carlos's skull from a childhood bus accident in Cuba. They talked about electroshock therapy he received as a child in a psychiatric facility.
Well, I mean, the same thing did happen to like King Henry VIII when he fell off the horse and the horse landed on top of him and he got all. Well, he was messed up to begin with, but same concept.
They described a tractor accident at the lumber yard. They said he had borderline personality disorder, depression, and a dependency on pain medication.
See, why would you date somebody that has those things, though?
And his coworkers and family members asked the jury to spare his life. But the prosecution argued for death on two grounds: that the murder was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, and that Carlos posed a continuing threat to society.
Well, he's been beating the shit out of her for months, if not years. I don't really remember how long these guys were together, but it's not going to change.
The jury agreed with both. Carlos Cuesta-Rodriquez was sentenced to death. For more than 20 years, his case moved through the courts. His attorneys argued that trial counsel had failed to present evidence of organic brain damage and PTSD. The state and federal courts reviewed it, but none of them changed the outcome. In June 2026, Oklahoma Attorney General Gaynor Drummond asked the Pardon and Parole Board to deny clemency. Carlos Cuesta-Rodriquez is a violent domestic abuser and murderer who should not be granted the mercy he refused to show to Olympia Fisher.
How much you want to bet that like somebody in prison is going to vouch for him and say that he's not like this anymore?
Drummond said. Olympia's daughters and family have endured unimaginable pain for the past 23 years.
Yeah.
On July 14, 2026, Carlos appeared at his clemency hearing by video from the Oklahoma State Penitentiary. His defense attorneys made their case one more time: childhood trauma, brain injuries, mental illness. But Carlos said something different. Speaking mostly in Spanish through a translator, he told the board he wasn't there to ask for anything. He said he came to apologize to Olympia's daughters. "I know that nothing I say will be enough to erase your pain, to offer some kind of comfort or get her back," he read from a written statement. "But I do want to tell you that I regret it, and I am truly remorseful from the bottom of my heart. My time has come, and I want to leave, and I want to leave in peace. And if I am forgiven someday, well, I will be forgiven. But it's time for me to pay for what I did."
Well, at least you're doing that. So, yay for that.
Then, in English, "I don't want any clemency. I don't want any mercy." The board chair, Robert Rivas II, said he had been somewhat inclined to vote for clemency, but changed his mind after hearing Carlos's own words. The board voted 3-1 to deny it. Olympia's daughter, Katya, also spoke at the hearing. She told the board that Carlos could have helped her mother after the first shot.
Yeah.
He could have surrendered. He could have opened the door and let paramedics in, but instead he waited. And then he fired again. "Carlos chose to take my mother's life," Katya said. "He didn't just hurt her. He hurt all of us who knew her, who loved her, who needed her. He took
It's like, what's the point? Wow, I showed her who's boss. Domestic violence never made any sense to me. The concept of it, why you guys are still together. It's literally the reason why I don't want to date anymore, probably till the rest of my life. Like, I do not want. Like, the things that piss me off are things like shit tests. you know, everyday normal stuff. But like being into, like I said before, like being in a domestic situation is so weird. Like I don't know, I do not know how people get to this point. I don't. At one point you gotta stand up for yourself. But I don't want to bash the victim either. Like it's like what do you do?
Great person who did not deserve to die.
Yeah, I know.
She pushed back on every excuse the defense had offered. Carlos was not mentally ill. He was not sick when this tragic event happened. He was not drunk.
Oh, he wasn't drunk.
And Carlos himself had told police the same thing 23 years earlier. He wasn't drunk.
Oh, he wasn't drunk. I thought he was hammered when he was doing this at first. I was like, there has to be. He wasn't drunk. This is all blind rage.
He was angry. Katya told the board that her...
That just makes this... I thought he was hammered when he did this. That just makes this worse. At 4:30... And since it happened at 4:30 in the morning, you know he was like staying up all night, just like he has in the past other nights, just stewing about this.
PTSD from that night is so severe that 23 years later, she still cannot open a can of biscuits on Sunday morning for her kids.
Wait, say that again? Why?
From that, he was angry. Katya told the board that her PTSD from that night is so severe that 23 years later, she still cannot open a can of biscuits on Sunday morning for her kids.
Why not biscuits? Why biscuits? Was that what you had that night?
The sound takes her back to that bedroom.
Oh, the sound.
The board's decision cleared the way for the execution. Carlos had no appeals left, no legal challenges pending, no path to clemency. The date was set, August 13th, 2026.
That's today. Well, when I'm uploading the videos today.
In the weeks that followed, Carlos was moved from his cell on death row to a holding cell near the execution chamber at the Oklahoma State Penitentiary in McAlester. After 23 years on death row, he was now counting days. Then, on the evening of August 12th, Carlos ate his last meal at the Oklahoma State Penitentiary. He requested a Cuban sandwich, Rocky Road ice cream, a few donuts, and a bottle of water. The following morning, Carlos was escorted from his holding cell to the execution chamber at the Oklahoma State Penitentiary in McAlester. After 23 years on death row, it was a short walk. He was strapped to a gurney and IV lines were inserted into his arms. When the curtain was pulled back and the witnesses could see him, Carlos was asked if he had any final words. A month earlier, he had told the parole board, "It's time for me to pay for what I did." But in the execution chamber, the man who had asked for no mercy said nothing. The drugs began to flow. 13 minutes later, the usual checks were performed. There was
You hear that? I don't know if it's... It's gotta be the people downstairs. Do you hear that? I keep thinking somebody's knocking on my door. I don't know what it is.
no response. Carlos Cuesta-Rodriquez was pronounced dead at 10:13 in the morning. He was settled later. But in the execution chamber, the man who had asked for no mercy said nothing. The drugs began to flow. 13 minutes later, the usual checks were performed. There was no response. Carlos Cuesta-Rodriquez was pronounced dead at 10:13 in the morning.
I was in the middle of Rasputin, or I was starting to. One of the two. A little bit hazy, but that's what we were doing.
He was 70 years old. And Carlos Rodriguez wasn't the only man America put to death on August 13th.
We got two more. You guys won't see it. You guys watching this on Facebook, unless you go on my YouTube channel.
He was one of
Just
3.
saying.
3 men, 3 different states, all executed in a single day. And
That's crazy. I don't think that hasn't happened since I started doing this, or since I was thinking about starting to do this. I started following things like this about maybe a year and a half ago, and this is the first time 3 people in the same day get executed. So this is going to be a
that
good
hadn't
day.
happened in 16 years, not since 2010.
See? And I haven't been doing it since then.
Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next one.
Yeah, guys, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next 2, okay? Jeez. Well, that was a great one. I will be back later for the other ones. But yeah, what do you guys think? That's number 1. We got ourselves 2 more. There's 2 videos right here. Or at least on YouTube, there's 2 videos right here. For you watching me on Facebook, you're just going to see me doing this. But for you guys watching YouTube, probably right about now, there's 2 videos in the corners. Run there and just watch them, okay? Just watch, okay? Subscribe.